Live.
No,
When it's done, what I can do is I can actually take some quotations.
not quite.
Yeah, by the time
Just
that
thinking about
people
it.
click on it, though, we will be live.
Yeah, I retweeted it too.
There we go. We're live. Hello,
Hi.
everyone. Welcome back to another book discussion. We are doing Scythe by Neal Shusterman. Everybody, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I'm Sam.
I feel like we don't need to at this point.
We
We're
pretty
like-
much live on each other's channels by now.
Yeah, we
Exactly.
pretty much, yeah.
And also, like, all of our channel names are on our thing.
We do have a Morgan, but she's not here tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my co-host, Yuri.
There's a kitty cat. Kitty cat. Hello, kitty cat.
And we have a special guest.
He's like
Harry, what did you think of Scythe, Harry?
Death. Death to all.
He is a Scythe.
Oh
I knew
my
it.
goodness.
I'm always good at it because I'm.
And what color is his robe? Black and white.
Yep. With a bow tie on special occasions.
I think
Lovely.
mine's wanting in. Does somebody want to say what the book is about?
Bananas.
That and death.
Definitely not about bananas.
That would be interesting, though, just a book about bananas.
Scythe.
What now?
It's a perfect world. The only way to die is to be gleaned by a professional scythe. Citra and Rowan are chosen to be apprentice scythes. They have no option but to learn the art of killing. But the terrifying responsibility of choosing their victims is just the start. Corruption is the order of the day. Citra and Rowan need to stick together to fight it. And then they are told that one of them will have to glean the other. Dun, dun, dun.
Is that what yours says? Because it says something a little different.
Oh, does it? Ooh. What does yours say?
Yeah. Mine says on the back, it says, "Thou shalt kill. A world with no hunger, no disease, no war, no misery. Humanity has conquered all those things and has even conquered death. Now scythes are the only ones who can end life and are commanded to do so in order to keep the size of the population under control. Citra and Rowan are chosen to apprentice to a scythe, a role that neither wants. These teens must master the art of taking life, knowing that the consequence of failure could mean losing their own. They learn living in a perfect world comes only with a heavy price."
I guess that might be a difference
we
between
have
Basically,
different
the
US
UK
and the
book.
UK.
Basically, the UK book summed it up by saying, in a perfect world, the only way to die is just to be gleaned. It was just like, we'll just sum it up.
That's one line that describes the entire book.
Yes,
Exactly.
pretty much.
Okay, so what format did everybody read it in? I did
I read it-
paperback.
Yeah, I read it physically and it was the library's copy, like paperback copy. So that's what I did.
I reread physically, and I also kind of listened to the audiobook as well. I got it from my library.
Did do
I read the
audiobook.
ebook.
Nice. We
Nice
have
bit of
a
difference.
Lucinda.
Yay, Lucinda read it.
Lucinda did paperback as well.
Mm.
So I'm the odd person out reading the ebook.
Yes, you are.
Well, I ish
Nothing
kind of read
wrong with
ebook
that,
because
though.
I do have it. I do have it on my Kindle, and at night time I tend to use my Kindle if I do have the ebook as well. So I ish kind of read it, but mostly the physical. Is it small?
My kitty cat has made it.
No, I would say the font in this one's average.
Yeah.
It's not as small as Legendborn. The UK Legendborn font is even smaller. Yeah, I probably would say it's the same size.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the chapters are really short too. So.
What did everybody rate the book? I gave it 5 stars.
I gave
Same.
it 4 stars.
I gave both times 5.
Yeah, for me it was like a 5, but it was like just a 5. Like I did Caw Pile and it was literally exactly a 5. Like anything being lower, and it would have been a 4.5.
Yeah, I haven't core-piled my reread yet, but like at the moment, like I'm enjoying it enough to be like, yeah, this is probably going to be 5 again.
Yeah, I gave it. There were some parts of it where I wasn't like wowed by it. It's like feel myself dragging a little bit with it, so it did just that's what made it a 4 for me, but it wasn't too bad.
Makes sense.
Let me look when I
did the
last read it.
audiobook. I kind of did like the audio book reading along type thing. So
Yeah, that's what I was doing as well. I sped it up to like ×2 and was reading along with it.
yeah, mine was like 1.8. I can't. I can't do the low 1 point speed. Make up your
I
mind.
think
Sit or don't
luckily
sit.
he was reading quite slow for me.
Sit.
Let's think. When did I last...
Characters. What do we think about characters?
I definitely liked the Scythe Curry the most. She was probably my favorite.
I like that they could pick their own like patrons to be named after.
Yeah.
I will say, like, the characters, like, more specifically, like, the Scythes are very, like, unique characters compared to, like, other books I've read.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah.
And the way that even though they're all Scythes, their job is the same, they treat it differently. And that's one thing that really I like. If it's not, like, they're not copy and paste characters.
Yeah.
Like some books where there's a group of people that do something, they don't feel unique, but it is just because of the way that the characters have like the outlook on the act of like gleaning itself.
Mm-hmm.
And building off of that, each Scythe, like you said, they have their own unique way of doing it. And I've noticed that some are more methodical than others. Like Faraday I thought was more methodical, whereas Curie was just like, I'm going to watch and observe and then make a decision. Whereas Goddard was just like, we're going to do this. And
we're just going to kill everybody on a plane.
Yeah, he liked to do
You get to die, and you get to die, and you get to die.
Or he would make them choose who would go first, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Another kitty! What did you think of Scythe?
He says, whatever mom wants.
He's just like, I'm here for
whatever mom wants. Yep. Lucinda was thinking 3.5. She wouldn't read it again. I thought it was very interesting. It was very intriguing, so I'm intrigued to see how it continues.
Mm-hmm.
The very first time I read it physically. And then like when I was listening to the audiobook, they pronounced the character Xenocrates, which I thought was quite interesting. Whereas when I first read it was like Xenocrates.
That's how I've been pronouncing it.
Yeah, on the audiobook it goes Xenocrates. And I was like, that actually sounds cooler.
Yeah.
Off of the Greek mythology and Roman mythology names.
Mm-hmm.
I must admit, I do like the character Faraday. I think he's probably my favorite.
I thought for sure he was a goner, but then at the end, I was just like, what?
Yeah, I remember that. I was like, when reading the first time, when it's like that he gleaned himself, I was just like, surely not. Surely not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't think he had done it. So who was your favorite character in the book?
Yeah, like it's Faraday for me. But...
Curie for me.
I've always liked Rowan. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's just, it could be because you kind of see the journey he goes on, and I've read the entire, like, the second and third books, so I think it also could be I have bias on those books of why I like him. But favorite character is probably Rowan.
Yeah.
I kind of liked Curie and Citra.
I like their relationship, like of how
Mm.
they grew closer at the end of the book.
Yeah, I really liked how they worked together in a sense, but I like how she was just kind of like, "Yep, I'm here, I'm doing my job," and Citra's like, "But why? Why do you do this? Why do you do it that way?" She was very inquisitive, Citra. She was always asking why.
Mm-hmm.
But like I understand that because of needing to learn the the craft of being a scythe and wanting to know all the different ways that scythes do their
Do
job.
what they do.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
why do you choose to glean people this way? Why did you not choose to glean this person? Like, all those things.
Yeah, learning the ways.
Lucinda liked Fairday. He was a good character too.
I liked that they kind of put a little mini spin on it that Rowan had to go with the Goddard one, and I was like, that's interesting because obviously that's the one who like gleans very differently to the other. So it was interesting, and then seeing like, is he gonna change into being a Goddard, or is he gonna? And the fact that they don't meet, and it's just like, no. Yeah, I did like that.
Who was your
Harry, let's
least
not
favorite
bite
character?
wires. That'd be great. I don't want you to electrocute yourself. Stop biting wires. Stop it.
The first time that I read it, what's the date?
I didn't like Goddard and his disciples, as you call them. Volta was okay. He seemed like he still had a conscience, but the others were like, I'm just going to go along with whatever he says.
Well,
and then
yeah,
the
I
one guy with the flamethrower. Like, I'm going to set
Mood.
things on fire.
That's a mood. I like Volta because at the end when they're like doing the whole thing at the like, Braid, I finished this book last night. Remember words.
Oh, the tonist one?
Yeah, the tonist place where like Volta comes out and you just like crying and then gleans himself of just that shows that was the breaking point of I can't do this anymore. This is too intense. So you're seeing like the fact that even though scythes are supposed to kill people, sometimes they don't like doing it. It's not, they don't enjoy doing it.
Mm-hmm.
He had a conscience after all, after killing a room full of children. Or I should say not kill, but glean. Same thing.
Same thing.
Lucinda almost DNF'd it after the first couple of chapters.
Is that because of all the violence, or the?
I don't know.
Them being whiny.
She also says, I know I just read a violent demon assassin epic that was quite bloody, but it didn't seem like it could be as real as this dystopian Scythe.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I liked about Scythe is like, even though it like it's well, technically I think it's utopian because it's like the perfect society, but the way that you can almost see, like you can think, what would it be like to live in that kind of society, because it is, I don't want to say like a possibility, but when you look at it, it's a realistic possibility for a future. So it adds that level of like, what would my morals be if I was chosen to be a scythe? What, like, how? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, well, because you have to look at it too as like with that utopian society, everything is perfect. No one dies, and you have the nanites that correct any kind of pain, broken bone, or anything like that. So if you're not dying and no one is dying, even if they didn't have the sites, the population would continue to grow. And I looked at it as kind of like I don't want to necessarily say it's like a hunting season, but it kind of is because hunting season is there so that people can go and like weed out the herd, so to speak. But then you're also controlling that population so they don't get out of hand. So
Yeah.
that's how I was looking at it. So I was like, yeah, that could be because if you have a utopia and no one's dying, then all of your resources are going to be depleted. So with these sites in play, then they can weed out the herd.
Yeah, and it's even said that even with all the sites in the world and with their quota, they still are not like the population is still increasing at a like exponential rate because
Rapid
they're
rate.
still not killing the amount of people that did like before death was conquered.
Yeah.
Yep. I
Well,
liked
think
it.
about it
It
this
was
way: like, how
interesting.
many people are born every day in the whole world?
Yep.
That's true.
And they've
And then
got to
how
get
many
rid
people
of
die?
the death
Even
somehow, especially in this world where they can like cut their age down again.
yeah, you can be like 85 and be like, I want to be 25, and then pop out another like 4 kids.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think even Madame Scythe Curie said something about that. Like she had a woman come to her house and say, please glean me because my husband died 10 years ago. And instead they gave her immunity and she turned the corner and was expecting a child. So anything is possible.
Yeah.
All right, so then we're moving on to plot. What did we think of the plot?
I thought it was an interesting concept for sure. It really makes you think about how the future is going to be if we ever get to that point. So
Yeah. Neal Shusterman does like really good like dystopians or like realistic stories of like if they could happen. Like even in his other book Dry, it's as if like what would we do if water ever ran out, sort of thing. And then this is like what would we do if we found a cure to everything. So it's pretty, yeah, it's a unique story no one's ever really kind of thought of, which is why it's so loved in booktube.
I also
yeah.
like how it takes place over like a year timeline. Rarely do you see YA books have a large like frame of time it's taking place in. Normally
Yeah.
it's like a couple months, 6 months most, but this it was more than an entire year.
Yeah.
From start to finish. So you get to see the characters grow in that year along with what's happening in the plot. And it doesn't feel rushed.
No, I think I liked that as well because you get to see like they had a year's time to train and do the testing and stuff. So you get to see all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the pacing was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the plot twist of Faraday like was quite good too.
I forgot about that. Like I literally read that. I was like, oh my god, yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remembered it when they announced that he gleaned himself. I was like, oh yeah. Like I was like, but this is where it starts.
I know, I like read that and I was like, oh yeah, that happens. Moving on, and then totally didn't acknowledge, oh yeah, he's actually alive. Forgot about that.
Yeah, that was a good plot twist.
I wondered, like I had a suspicion. I had a suspicion because I was just like, there's no way he would have left 2 scythes and gleaned himself and then they would have been set free from his apprenticeship. But then they were like, no, we're just gonna give you the 2 different apprentice so you can continue your apprenticeship. And I was like, well, he's gotta be out there somewhere.
I do think when he like gleaned himself, it could have been him wanting to let them go free. But then as soon as they weren't, then he was probably secretly where he is just like, oh shit. New plan.
Mm-hmm.
That is very true. All right, so next is writing style. Do you love it, hate it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like I said, there were some points of it where it kind of did drag for me, so I can see like a few tweaks to it would probably make it a bit better for me, but overall, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I liked the writing.
Yeah, it's easy to read, and I love how there's the journal entries at the end of each chapter from various Scythes to kind of almost see an extra peek into how they are and their reactions to things. And also you learn a bit about kind of how Scythes became to be a little bit in those entries.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost kind of gives you more of what their mindset is like when they're doing these daily journal entries and how they're dealing with having to be a Scythe.
Yeah.
The one I like, every time you read Curie's journals, it just seems like she's still continuing a very scientific approach to it. And what about this? And what about that? So that was interesting.
Yeah.
Next is favorite part and least favorite part. Anybody have a favorite part?
Can't really pinpoint like a favorite part. I know I did not enjoy the breaking of the neck because been having neck issues for the last week, and I'm like, I wish my neck will pop like that. Pop like that.
Yeah.
I probably would say that I liked it when, well, 2 bits probably, but I liked it when they first said about that they have to glean one another. And then the other one would be when Faraday disappears, and then it's just like, oh yeah, 2 have stepped up, and it's this one and this one. I probably would say that those are the 2 where I at least was like, oh, this has really got good now. So yeah, probably those 2.
Honestly, one point that I loved is of how at the end Citra has to kill Rowan, but ends up punching him, getting blood on her ring, and granting him immunity for a year. That is like, I don't know why, I just love that because you can tell that it's like she doesn't want to do it because she cares for him, even if he's changed since they've last talked.
Yeah. She
Right.
does him. He doesn't want to kill her boyfriend.
I love those moments where it's sort of like, yeah, I'm definitely not falling in love with you. Yeah, I'm not falling in love with you either. Like,
and it's just like, bullshit, you are.
It's like, we can't admit it, but I'm not doing it. There, we've kissed now. Like, I probably would say that is quite a good scene as well. Like, we've done it now. Like, I'm not falling in love with you, but it's out of the way.
It's like, no, you kissed each other because you were in love with each other, but you don't want to admit it because Scythes can't form romantic relationships with anybody according to the like 10 commandments.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we know some people broke that.
Mm-hmm.
I think my favorite part was when Citra did give him immunity, and I don't know why, but I like the scene where they were at the Tonists and Rowan just, even though Volta gleaned himself, Rowan just kind of took out the others, and because he was like tired of them.
I love
and then
that.
used it to escape.
I love that of how I love how he impersonated Scythe Goddard to get rid of the fire department of being like, nope, don't go in there, don't do anything.
This is a Scythe matter. You don't need to go in.
Yeah, and he was like proud that like he was like after the fire department was like, okay, he was like, oh, that actually worked. I was proud of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's like strutting around like I'm a badass. Woo.
I think that's why I love him so much. Of like,
it was almost like they were both like Citra and Rowan both like they had their moments of like calculated strategic thinking. So because she didn't want to do anything to go against Rowan or do anything to harm him, and him doing the same, but at the same time she didn't know what he was doing under Goddard's watch, but he was kind of buying his time until he could do what he did.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of looked at it. Do we have a least favorite part?
Not really this time around. The first time,
No.
I mean, actually, Hope, did you Goodreads review it like with a review the first time you read it?
Not a full-on proper review.
Because like
I read this before. I read this book before I actually started writing like full-on reviews, but I gave like 2 or 3 lines of a thought.
Because I found my review from 3 years ago. I thought it was only last year I read it, but apparently I read it in 2019.
Same.
Oh wow.
Oh, cool.
What month?
September, apparently.
Oh, mine was November.
Oh, very close though. But my review said, while this book was fantastic, I'm not surprised I liked it, as I also did enjoy Dry by Neal Shusterman, which I also thought was fantastic. I love the action in this book, as well as the cunning actions of Citra and Rowing. Very clever planning. I knew something sneaky was going to happen in the end, and I was happy with it. I also enjoyed the mystery that was in this book. A slight dab of insta-love, I might add, but it didn't take over the storyline. I can't wait to find out what happened next in Thunderhead.
Have you read Thunderhead?
Not yet.
Exactly.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Is that book 2?
Yeah.
It goes Scythe, Thunderhead, the Toll, and then Gleanings.
And Gleanings.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which Gleanings isn't out yet, but it comes out next month.
That's okay.
Oh, I'll probably continue this series sometime in the new year. I got other things to read.
Fair.
That we all know.
Would you reread? Obviously, 2 of you said yes because you reread it already.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I probably would.
Already did.
Yeah,
possibly. It just depends on how long it takes me to read the second and third one, I guess. If there is a big gap in between where I need to be kind of like reminded, possibly.
Would you buy this for someone?
Yes.
Yeah.
I made Will read it.
Nice.
I was like, I'll buy it for myself, but I would also buy it for somebody else.
I just said, this book's good, you should read it. And then he read it, and I was like, oh, it actually was good.
Let's see. Would you read another book by the author? Well, I mean, I gotta continue the series.
Continuing the series, and then I personally do want to read more of Neal Shusterman's books. Do I know which ones are when? Absolutely not.
I want to read his Unwind series. I don't think.
What do you says, I don't think she would continue.
What don't you think?
Maybe for rereading it or
maybe
gifting it to somebody?
Continuing, yeah. Would you like another book from the world? From this world?
Well, Gleanings is coming out.
I was gonna say, we have to continue the series, so
Yeah.
she doesn't think that she'll reread it. Lucinda says.
I'll have to find out after reading all the other books to be like, do we really need another book? Like, or to be like, yes, please, a spin off.
Open my vitamin water and put it in this, please.
Well, that's pretty much it. The only other ones. The last question is, what books would you recommend that are similar?
Dry by Neal Shusterman.
Yeah, continue, Neal Shusterman.
I can't really think of
I mean, I can go on Goodreads because it says readers also enjoyed Renegades by Marissa Meyer. The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Legend by Marie Lou.
There's none that I can really think of.
Yeah, because all I'm
There's
thinking
one.
of is, dystopians, not a utopian.
One that I can kind of think of that it's similar in a way but not is Reboot by Amy Tintira. I feel like that has similar vibes to this, so like people might enjoy it.
I haven't read it yet, but there's also one called it's Death, Doom, and Detention. Apparently that has to do with Grim Reaper type stories. There's also Croak that has a Grim Reaper vibe to it.
And the book Thief's told in Death's perspective, so I suppose that one-ish, if you want.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Morgan says, hello, I thought I would pop on. Weren't we going to buddy read the Reboot duology? Hope.
At some point. Morgan,
no.
no.
It was nothing to do with the Reaper in that, remember?
No.
Yeah, no, that has nothing to do with the Reaper. I mean, there's a lot of death if you want to count that, but it's more of like Black Plague type death.
So yeah, if you want a book Reaper that has a misleading title, then yeah.
Morgan, absolutely.
If you want to be bored to death,
then by all means.
Put in a reading slump.
Yep.
Well,
I don't know. There's not really many like Scythe or Death like books, are there? Like I'd say there's loads of dystopian books out there.
Well, there's the one series that I have. Let me see if I can point to it. It's like right here, but that's like adult version. That's the first book is First Grave on the Right, but that's more of a detective by day, Grim Reaper by night type story. So it just depends.
Yeah, like I would say that Scythe, it is unique because of just the way that it takes the idea of a Grim Reaper and makes it broader.
Doesn't seem like it's such a bad thing. Seems like it's just a job in the society.
Exactly. Instead of like the Grim Reaper is out to kill you, it's more of like you could be killed at any moment and you don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It all depends
I just remembered a scene I really liked, and it was like when that person like went up and like kissed the ring and was like, "Ha! I kissed a ring. I know how it works." And then Faraday was like, "Yes, but after your 1 year of immunity, I will glean you." And they were like, "Oh shit!"
He's just like, "I will find where you live and I'll show up on your doorstep."
And then they were like,
"Yep,
oh."
Shit.
It did make me laugh.
Yep.
You thought you could get away with it. Good for you. See you in a year. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's nice that there are some funny moments considering it is a book that's about death and killings and all that.
It's just very interesting to see the society that has become like throughout this story, but I also like how they've also separated this society because they also keep mentioning the age of mortality. So technically we would be in the age of mortality, and then somehow they've figured out how to defeat death, but now you have the problem of weeding out society so that you don't overpopulate. So that was interesting too.
Hmm.
And whoever I want someone to hurry up and invent these nanites, because if we can have nanites and just heal ourselves while we sleep, then can we hurry up and do it?
Yes.
See, and that goes into a
'Cause that would
different
be
topic
amazing.
about whether or not if we would want to defeat death. And honestly, I wouldn't want to defeat death. Because
No. I
just the
wouldn't
way
want
that
them as that.
I feel like I would want like certain things, like obviously cancer and things like that, but old age, I think we should all just die when we're old,
Yeah, I think of
or
like
we reach 100 and we die. And
of
that's
that of like death via disease
Mm.
is more of something that
found a cat whisker.
like we could like that's something I feel like first of all at some point is potentially that we could somehow find a way to defeat disease, but defeating death overall is like, I'm sorry, I do not want to be 200 years old and still arguing with my mother.
Mm-mm.
No.
Like,
I'm still scared about the day that our
Yeah.
sun's gonna burn and die. Like,
Yeah.
I know we won't live to see that day, but like, you know what I mean? When you're just sort of like, I wouldn't want to be on Earth.
It's
at
just
that time.
interesting to think about.
Yeah. Kitty, what did you think?
Yes. Did you like the story? I know you heard some of it. Yeah.
He said, "Oh
Okay.
yes, I did."
he's just like, I'll just cuddle you.
Yeah, I
Now,
like this
if there
story.
was a
Yeah.
way we could make death not possible for animals, then yes, that I would be happy with.
Or animals to live longer, or as long as humans.
They would have their own nanites.
Because I don't want Harry to leave me, so he cannot leave
I
me.
also kind of wish that animals could talk as well, like properly, like or we could read their thoughts or something.
I was about to say, I don't know about that, my cats talk enough as it is. So.
Dr.
The way
Doolittle.
that literally last night me and my mom were having a conversation of, do cats have object permanence? The answer is yes, but it was a good
Object.
20-minute conversation.
Also, I just noticed on your shelf, Alisha, the shell and the flower from Mario. That's really cool.
Way over there.
Yeah, I was like looking. I was like, wait, is that from
Yeah,
Mario?
Yeah, we bought them when we were on one of our road trips. We also had a big like square spiky thwomp thing. We have that too. It's in my son's room. He keeps stealing it. But
It's his now.
Oh.
You want to do
Yeah,
it?
somebody's trying to come in, maybe. Do we have any other comments about the book?
No. Not that I can think of at the moment, anyways.
Yeah. I was looking through like the pages I bookmarked and nothing really is like
I think depending on the copies you have, I think there's discussion questions in the back of the book. But I don't
there
have my
is,
copy here.
but there are discussion questions, but they're like really
I haven't
like
got them in mine.
they're really long, and it's
just
more
have
of
a
like one of them is just like, why can't gleaning not be referred to as killing? Why does the society believe it's so socially or morally incorrect to call it such? Do you agree? How does this role of the Scythe fit into that complex? Like questions like that, where it's like, oh, you actually have to think for more than 2 seconds.
I think, like, if you're going to answer that question, it's kind of like the way that the story was written. In this society, you don't want to look at it as killing, even though you are. So they call it gleaning. But I think it's just the way that the society was set up.
Yeah, or like another one of the questions is review the Scythe's commandments. Is there anything about these mandates that you find unusual or surprising?
They just become
What
to
question?
me.
I just found the document that you're reading from. I literally just like Googled Scythe discussion questions.
My thing is the whole being celibate type of thing. That would get old real quick.
This is a good one. Given the ending of Scythe, other than you, Hope, what are
I'll
your
keep my mouth
predictions?
shut.
What are your predictions for the next book?
More
I
death.
think the next books are gonna be focused on the new Scythes and their journey.
Yeah.
What question is that? Here's one. Did you learn that Scythe Faraday attends the funerals of those he gleans surprise you? For what reason do you think it's significant that he does this?
I don't think I was surprised because I feel like Scythe Faraday is that sort of person that's quite respectable.
Yeah. I thought it was nice because it shows that like Scythes actually have a conscience and they shouldn't be ones feared. At least majority of them shouldn't be ones that should be feared.
I agree, because like with him going to the funerals, it shows that he has that compassionate, sympathetic side, even though it's like more or less a job that he has to do. But also, like Scythe Curie, she kind of invites the families over for dinner and kind of tells them and consoles them and says, "You have the right to kill me. If not, then this is the way it's going to be," and move forward. So they all have it in their different ways. And then you just have Goddard and his disciples that say, "Woohoo, party!"
Literally. I found the
They
parties
remind
like
me of a bunch of frat
hilarious.
boys. The what?
I found the parties like hilarious in the fact of like you really think that after killing like let's say 100 people it's okay to celebrate, and that shows that in, for example, the Age of Mortality, that he would have been a very, very dark individual and a very breaking the law, very just bad person. But then you also have to think of, but what if it's just because he knows he's able to kill people, so might as well do it in a fun way?
To compare him, like if he was in like the Age of Mortality, I can see him being a Charles Manson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was writing
He could be.
notes like when I was rereading, and I put like because I was writing all the Scythe's names down as well because like we had the Scythe Faraday, Scythe Sinacotes, Scythe Goddard, Scythe Curie, and then there's that Scythe Rand, and I just put reminds me of Professor Umbridge. Excuse me, but I think these two.
See, and
Oh, yeah.
that makes
I
me
remember
think
that.
is like going into like seeing Goddard as more of a Manson type character. I wouldn't have been surprised if he had changed his name to Scythe Manson. Like later on, if he survived throughout the series, if they were able to change their names even after, it's like somehow changing his name to line up with Charles Manson's like way of life.
Speaking of Scythe's names, I like the Scythe name that Citra picked.
Yeah.
And of how everyone was kind of like, you sure you want that name? Like, that doesn't really fit with. And then she's like, nope.
This is what I'm going for.
It's like, if you don't like it,
You notice,
shut up.
but you notice that when she did that, they instead of calling her like Scythe Romanoff, they were calling her Scythe Anastasia. They were using first name instead of last name, whereas all the others were last name.
And I'm wondering if that's just like almost to like be like we don't like the name you picked, so we're going to treat it differently.
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering too.
And if Scythe Lucifer comes my way, I hope he'll see me as one of the good ones, the way he once did. H.S. Anastasia.
I don't know how I feel about Scythe Lucifer there. He sounds like he'll be
Yeah,
scary.
no.
I'm sorry, what? I'm trying to
Yeah.
think. There was something in the book that I was going to talk about, and I forgot what it was. It happened through the middle, I think.
Ooh, one random thing that I thought of is how Scythes don't wear black, but Rowan showed up to the like final thing in black as if to say, haha, fuck y'all. Just like, I don't know why that just popped into my head.
Yeah. They had an array of
I
colors.
love that
for
scene
their
where like
robes.
Rowan is like in the school and he's like, yeah, that Scythe, that was my uncle. So like you can all hate me.
Yeah, just feeding into that, and you're just like, I don't care.
I must say, he probably is my second favorite character, Rowan. Like, there's something about Faraday that's kind of special though. It's almost like a really cool uncle or something. But
True.
yeah, and then there's Rowan that just kind of is like the Joker. But yeah, he was just like, yeah, they're all gonna hate me anyway, so like, you know, might as well just say it. Like, yeah, and like you're gonna be next. My uncle says I can pick whoever I want to clean.
I mean, it stopped him from getting like everyone was just avoiding him instead of like hating on him.
And like trying to beat him
solely
up.
because he was there with what's his name? I can't remember the name of the kid in his school that got gleaned, but like he was there literally giving like support, but nobody believed him.
I can't remember. I only literally like listened to it yesterday.
Well,
Yeah, I can't remember that.
Oh yeah, what do you guys
either.
think of like the friend Tiger as well? Tiger Salazar.
I just had to roll my eyes at him, be like, bro, get on with your life. Shoo.
Yeah, like literally my brain just pictures him as like college frat boy, crazy, stupid. That's kind of what
Cole.
he is.
Like the class clown sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I don't have
Cole was his name.
time. It's like I don't have time to waste on you, Tiger. Shoo.
Oh, Cole Whitlock, that was the name of the kid.
Yeah.
And it was something funny.
Yeah, I wanted to know what was up with that kid because he was the one that was like trying to do splats from various distances above.
Yeah. How long was I gone this time? 4 days. Awesome.
And that honestly brings up the thing of like, why do some people want to just splat and waste? Like, I get it's probably the thing of almost like they might be bored in life, so they want to just literally not exist for a few days. That's my thinking of behind
for
why
him,
people splat.
Well, no, he said for him it was because later in the book he said he was doing it because that was how he got attention and how he got his parents to spend money on him and not his siblings. Because they kind of just, he was like the Harry Potter under the stairs type character, and he was doing that to get their attention. So.
Yeah.
But then later on he also says
there's no hospital or medical expenses to pay for, so like what else is money going to go on? So I suppose everyone's earning extra money.
No, they did say in there
yeah.
the first time was free, but anytime afterwards your parents his parents had to pay to get him revived.
But it's you have to pay to revive your child. You can't just choose not to.
Yeah.
And I think that's why later in the book they were saying that they turned him over to the Thunderhead, so now he was in like a foster care type system.
Which the Thunderhead
because they were like, nope, we're not going to keep doing this.
A just like interesting thing of like it's almost its own like sentient thing.
Entity.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like it's its own thing that, like, when it interacts with Citra, you're almost like, wait, you can talk to people?
That's what I was gonna ask about. Like, what did you guys think of that scene where the Thunderhead was talking to Citra, but doesn't really talk to anybody else?
I thought it was interesting.
Interesting, yeah. It does make the next book
It was.
exciting.
I mean, the next book is titled Thunderhead, so
Exactly.
It has to be in there somewhere, some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, Thunderhead, and it's not in the whole book.
it's not even mentioned once.
That would be horrible.
What is this? There's no Thunderhead in this book.
No, it's referenced, but they wanted to change its name to something else.
They wanted to change it to Gerald.
Yeah.
They changed it to Year of the Reaper.
Oh my god.
We are gonna be like joking
would-
about that book for like the next like 2 years.
I'm telling you right now, the book review for that book, the video will be quite short. You'll be lucky if it's 5 minutes long.
Hey, that'll be one that I'll actually watch as soon as it comes up because it'll be
Or
short.
even 1 minute.
Just like 1 minute, I hated this book. Bye.
Year of the Reaper.
Yeah.
Don't bother. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed my review. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, it's literally gonna be like me doing my intro, reading the synopsis, and then my thoughts are gonna be like, I hated this with a passion. I read 100
ranting,
pages
yeah.
and I couldn't read anymore. This is what it's about. This is what I thought. Peace out.
At least Scythe will have more positive, like a more positive review.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's in the being added to the list for book reviews. I'm still trying to review all of Crave.
And in
So,
reply to Morgan, I'm glad that we are making your anxieties calm down a bit for the book. My whole thing is when I've come to the terms with not being afraid of death a few years ago. It took me a while to get over that. So just thinking of it as quoting She Who Should Not Be Named, death is the next greatest adventure. I always go back to that quote because of how many deaths I've had in my family. I have to remind myself of that. So
that's very true. Well, any final thoughts?
Let's just appreciate.
Do we have
the
information?
By book.
Mm.
Thou shalt read.
I love it.
And he was very nice to me in person as well.
That's nice.
I'm glad I met him.
Do we have information on the next book? What is the next book?
Cemetery.
Maybe what's the
Boys.
next
I
book?
I already forgot.
Like after
Wait,
we started,
Aiden?
I was like, I should reach it.
I love you like asking us, Alisha,
Can
like,
I reach it from here?
do we
No,
have
I can't.
information of the next book? Because I can't remember.
Oh no, it's over there. I can't reach
Listen, I got so much going on. I know that we have
Well,
a book
Hope's read it
picked out.
before,
Like,
so Hope could pitch it.
Oh no, I can't. I've read it twice and I still can't pitch it.
It's about boys
So
in a
it's-
cemetery.
Yes, is it?
That's actually the same.
Boys in a Cemetery. So, and the
That's the next audiobook.
discussion will be November what? November 13th?
I think.
12th?
Did we say
14th?
the middle again?
I think we might have said the 12th.
Did we?
I
agree
knew
on
it
the
was
12th?
one of those.
I know that's one of the date was possibly brought up.
It was like 12 or 19.
Yeah.
I can't remember. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there you go. Cemetery Boys on November something or other at something or other time.
We will decide
all
tonight
of-
and then put it up. How about that?
Yeah.
What Morgan said is
All
entirely
of the
true. There's a reason she pitches all the Rick Riordan books in the lot. I'm always like, just I don't know. Like, I don't know what I've read. Hey, Scythe would have been the one book that I probably would have been able to describe. Keyword probably would have forgot something.
Well, you've got like a month to come up with a synopsis because you're telling the synopsis next month in the line.
No, just I'm sick. I can't make it. Joins after it's been described.
Then
my
if you come up with a I'm sick, I'm going to just quote Mean Girls and just say, boo you whore.
And I want my shot back.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You go good, Coco.
With that being said,
And
we're
we will
gonna go
talk
ahead
about
and end.
November's book as well tonight too, so we get that sorted.
Yeah, we need to get that picked.
Figure that out.
Yep.
Series.
It'll be a series one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That
Well, I've still got the
that was my
list, so
pen. I was
if
like,
there's
what's
any
that noise?
extras you can think of, I can add to that list, and then I can.
Morgan, you're not allowed to add to the list.
No, no.
No,
Morgan, you
I mean,
everybody
Scythe
gets
know
was
the
your
title.
maximum submission.
Scythe was one that was more on Morgan's list, and Morgan
Cough, I'm saying.
didn't even read it.
Nope, you can't do Ignite Me because we've DNF'd the series.
Well,
Oh.
as a book club, we've DNF'd it.
Yeah.
As individuals,
Well, as
we
yeah,
haven't.
as a book
We
club.
might do a side
We've
live for it, like me, Hope, possibly Sam, if Sam wants to, and
Yeah.
we could always do a
We'll
mini.
figure that out.
Yeah.
A mini,
So
like,
start thinking
Shatterman
about,
vlog,
yeah.
like, at our own pace.
A midnight bookworming book club. Instead of late night, just
Yeah.
midnight.
Yeah.
Or a mid-morning bookworming club.
So we will. I'll have all the links down in the description. I'll edit that afterwards. We will pick the next book for whatever month we're going to be picking it for. And we'll have all of that description stuff down below. Thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you for joining.
We can chat back if you like.
And if you're watching afterwards,
Thanks for everyone coming in the comments.
Yeah.
Hit Lucinda and Morgan in the comments. So thanks for joining.
and if you're
us.
watching on replay, let us know your thoughts in the comments too.
Yeah.
Yes, let us know if you liked Scythe and all of your thoughts down below.
And then pick up Cemetery Boys. Boys in the Cemetery.
Again, that's literally what, like, half the book is.
Doing God knows what.
At least it relates to the
All right.
title.